Hi, my name's Steve St. Pierre, and my wife Lisa and I own this restaurant, Have a Cow. We started the restaurant, I would say 3 years ago, but it's really not about the food here. It's about an idea of loving your enemy. And so I just thought I'd tell you a little story about how that came to be. About 18 years ago, my wife and I moved our family into an inner city context here in St. Louis. Pretty rough. My kids were 6, 9, and 12 years old, and it had a pretty big impact on their life. The night we moved in, several guys, 3 actually, were shot pretty much in our front yard with AK-47, so that just gives you an idea of what the neighborhood was like. But during that time in this neighborhood, we became friends with a number of the young men and gals running in, I guess you could say, gangs, but they were running with weapons. And one of the young men in our house at one point had his weapon and just said, I run with this, Steve, because nobody will hire me. I can't get a job. And my response to him was, well, I love you. I wouldn't hire you. And he said, well, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, there's a little secret here that you need to learn, that we actually all need to learn. And if you can master it, you'll have more jobs than you know what to do with. And I said, you need to love your enemy. Oh man, Steve, I don't even know what that means. And I said, well, so in my neighborhood, it would be known as a Crip neighborhood. And this young man would have said that he was blood. And I said, well, if you walk out of my house right now and there's a Crip in the yard, or a police officer, or your girlfriend, or maybe your ex-girlfriend, and possibly an old white guy like me. All the people that you have told me you wrestle with and kind of despise. I said, you have to take your history with me. And it counts, because there is a profile of how I'm probably going to behave. But you take that history and you lay it to the side. You keep it, because there's wisdom. But you lay it to the side and you give me my 100th chance, and you serve me. Well, man, Steve, that's crazy, he said to me. And he over the years, we became very close. And he came to me at one point, and I'm in that neighborhood out of my faith, so he kind of grabbed some of the faith, and he said, Steve, you've got to start something that'll give jobs to young guys and teach them to love their enemy. And he said, and also I just would challenge you to do things that you've never done before, because I don't know how to do anything. And so that kind of just chewed on that a little bit, and over time I came up with this idea, Have a Cow. We named it Have a Cow because when I was a kid, it was when someone was acting crazy, we would say, don't have a cow, man. And he said, well, if it's crazy to love your enemy, then have a cow. The other thing that I started at that in 2017 was a cattle ranch. I had never touched a cow. And so with that challenge to do things I'd never done, we started the ranch, and the restaurant is another thing I had never done. So here we are. We opened the restaurant in 2021. Again, the ranch in 2017. So I've got roughly 7 years behind me, 5 years, I don't know what year it is, 7 years of cattle ranching and 3.5 years of the restaurant. Because of COVID, we didn't necessarily hire some of the folks that we were hoping to find and hire. It's been very hard to hire. Some of the prisoners were being released, felons were being released because of COVID, and so we saw that as an opportunity to bring some of those guys on. But our challenge to everybody that we hire, no matter who they are, is, hey, you got to know how to flip a burger or clear a table, but I'm paying you to love your enemy. and just to bring that to expression. So that is.
Well, I'm interrupting you. What happened to that young man?
Yeah, so he still comes in here. By the time I got this all going, he had one of the things we used to do was teach guys to tuck point homes, which is scraping out the mortar and repacking it with fresh mortar on these brick homes. And St. Louis is an old brick city. A lot of it's falling down, so that was a skill that was really needed. But in the poorer neighborhoods, all the homes are kind of crumbling and falling down. So we would tuck point homes for free. We would pay the young men to do it. And so the poor in that way, mostly single female head of households, would get free tuck pointing, about a $15,000 job. Well, he was one of our best tuck pointers, and he started his own tuck pointing company. So he still comes in and visits with us, but he's doing really well. All of that is to say, we get to challenge people around the tables to love their enemy. And we have a lot of conversations, and people often say to me, well, I could never do that. And I just want to say, there's nothing special about me. We just have entered into a place of suffering and bring good to expression. And so it's as simple as when you see someone hungry, you feed them. We all can do that. So there's my challenge to you. Amen.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much.